If you not ball hog, then die.
I got no exit. I just score the points. I be smoking loud pack. My side got some noise. My transfer the big cat.
What's up, y'all? Today we are reacting to We Have to Talk About This Zaza. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Kids, stay away from drugs.
Cannabis has been vilified.
He fried, buddy. He fried on that Zaza. That shit might be laced.
Cannabis has been vilified to a ridiculous degree for the last century, but it's now finally being decriminalized in more and more places around the world. It's just
bro, you gotta think about it. People have been smoking weed forever, bro. It was just such a stigma to it for so long, but the stigma still there a little bit with the older generation. But bro, people be siphoning with their moms now. Like, the stigma against weed is completely gone. It's done. I'm pretty sure it's legal everywhere in the U.S. But some people do be ODing. I ain't gonna lie. Some people say they not addicted to it when they smoke it when they first wake up before they brush their teeth. Then they smoke again right after they brush their teeth, before they eat, before they sleep. It's like, damn, bro.
Recently been legalized in Germany, and for very good reasons. Compared to legal drugs like alcohol, which will cause 1 in 20 deaths just this year, cannabis is pretty mild. So to
I'm gonna lie, alcohol, I'm not going to be posing like that, but I'm not gonna lie, alcohol is way worse than weed, though. Because drunk driving, you don't really hear people be fried and then like crash it. Like, most likely they do. I'm pretty sure that's still a DUI, but like, people be drunk driving, like alcohol be killing your liver. I have not heard no real side effects of smoking to Zaza.
Prosecution and punishment, its negative effects have been wildly overstated. Naturally, there was a lot of pushback, and here's something went wrong. If you followed the discourse over the last few years, you might have got the impression that weed has almost only upsides and few, if any, negative side effects. We ourselves contributed to that narrative. What made this worse is that criminalization made it very hard for scientists to study cannabis, especially its long-term effects. They faced bureaucratic and legal hurdles, and studies often had to rely on small sample sizes. In the last few years, this finally started to change, so it's time to bring new evidence to the discussion. And, well, it's not pretty. While weed is still much less harmful
before they get into the negative effect, I ain't gonna lie though, like, I'm not a smoker. I know y'all see the black lips, bro. I was just born with them. I've been having them. I might have dibble dabble in the Zaza here and there, but it's, bro, 99% of my friends smoke, gang. It's like everybody smoke. Like, you can't find somebody that, it's more rare to find somebody that doesn't smoke than somebody that does, bro. Like, I feel like I'm a fucking anomaly, gang. Like, everybody I talk to, like, yo bro, Sipes, yo bro, you smoke, and like, bro, that's like a conversation starter. At this point, it's an icebreaker.
It is more addictive than we thought, and can have significant negative effects if you use it long term. It seems that, what are you doing? Before you tell us how dumb we are, please watch the video. To be crystal clear, we think prohibition doesn't work and cannabis should be legal, but this also means that we need to treat it as what it is, a drug, with unique upsides and downsides.
SpongeBob.
So let's take an honest look at some of the latest research together. Weed is getting stronger and stronger.
Facts.
Cannabis's magic juice is tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. It docks on your cannabinoid receptors, which affects various brain functions. THC activates some regions and calms down others, creating a fun cocktail of sensations. The more THC, the more
fraud you get.
High. And people seem to be into higher highs, or at least this is what the market is providing. In the US, Canada, and in Europe, the concentration of THC in legal...
They need to talk about the effects of grabba. Ooh, that gorilla grabba. Ooh, Lord Jesus. Grabba needs to be illegal. Grabba needs to be packed up. Once grabba was introduced to New York, everything just went downhill. Not everybody splits be spicy as shit. Shit be straight ghost, like nigga, it's like you smoking ghost pepper game. Like, hell, that shit touch your lungs. Start wheezing.
Legal and illegal cannabis products has more than doubled in the last few decades. While ever more potent strains are bred, products like edibles or concentrates with more than 60% THC
Lord have
become
mercy.
increasingly common. while the share of products with less than 15% THC has declined. Unfortunately, just about every problem weed creates gets worse at higher THC doses. At the same time, more and more people use weed. In the US, more people consumed cannabis daily than alcohol for the first time in 2022.
That's crazy.
In Canada, 26% of people 16 and older use it, up from 22% in 2018. It's not possible to say if legalization is the reason for this though, since studies are pretty inconsistent and vary massively between different users. In some,
I love the animation. It's nice as shit.
It stayed stable, and the trend to use more weed began in the early 90s and sped up in the 2000s, way earlier than legalization. So today, more people
Wait, when did we get legalized? It was a while ago though. It had to be like early 2010s.
In the last century, and it's the strongest it's ever been. What are we seeing as a result of this? Let's start with something that used to get you laughed out of the room.
Addiction.
Weed addiction and withdrawal symptoms.
Oh, they got withdrawal symptoms?
The narrative about weed is that it's not addictive.
Most definitely is.
Not that big of a deal. And for most people, this is true. Studies clearly show that the majority handle it well. For 8 out of 10 using weed, it's just a casual high and not problematic at all. About 2 in 10 users develop a cannabis use disorder, or CUD.
Oh, that's crazy.
CUD has 11 different symptoms, from the inability to stop when you've had enough, to using it when you know it will have negative consequences, to tolerance and withdrawal. They can all basically be reduced to, you're doing it too often, even if it's bad for you, and it's less fun than it could be. There are 3 major risk factors here. The amount of THC, how often you consume, and your age when you start using cannabis. So
I'm assuming the younger you do it, the more addictive it's gonna be. Cause I know some people start smoking when it was like 12, bro. Like 12, gang. I was playing with toys. Like y'all niggas smoking his Zaza. I'm playing with toys and shit. I'm like, damn.
The more THC, the more often, and the younger you are when you start, the higher your risk.
Yeah, see, that makes sense.
Too much weed too often, it will have negative impacts on your life. So if this is you, toning it down a bit will make a big difference. 1 in 10 users develops a serious addiction. They usually consume daily, and their life is significantly impaired or held back because they spend a lot of their time using or recovering
stinky
from
playing
use.
games.
Since their brain is building a tolerance, they need increasingly high doses or stronger weed, often both. Studies found a variety of negative effects. Heavy users can experience.
I'm not gonna lie, the most productive people that I know, like who get shit done, work, go to school, do all that, them niggas do every day, every morning, them niggas be fried. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, yo, it really can't be that bad. But some people might be terrible, but yo, bro, at the end of the day, you just have to know yourself. You have to know what you like can take, pause, and what you can and cannot do, bro. So we not for everybody, gang. Like, I don't know why people feel peer pressure to do this shit. Like, yo, you really don't have to. This shit really not that fun. Like, I don't, like, bro, I don't really enjoy that shit like that. Occasionally, if I'm at a party or something, but, like, bro, that shit butt.
Twist of irony, for many addicts, it feels like they need weed to fight these symptoms. Maybe it did actually help at first, while in reality, it makes those symptoms stronger.
Because they're going to be relying on it.
Studies also found that loneliness and frequent cannabis use go hand in hand. If you feel lonely, you're more
smoking by
likely to
yourself
use
is crazy.
weed, and if you use weed, you may experience more loneliness. It's not always easy to say which came first, but they seem to reinforce each other. So on the one hand, cannabis makes loneliness feel much less bad. On the other hand, it can also make you feel more socially awkward than you actually are, and withdraw from.
Yo, that's facts. That is so true. Yo, when I'm fried, I can't speak, bro. Like, first off, I get 10 times more anxious. Like, I'm talking about when I am fried, when I'm done. Bro, I get 10 times more anxious. And then, like, bro, like, I cannot speak to people, bro. That's why when I'm first meeting somebody, I don't like to meet somebody while I'm, like, inebriated, while I'm fried. Because it's not really going to be me. It's going to be me just sitting there like this. Zombie mode. Straight zombie mode. But if I'm sauced, like, I don't mind meeting new people because that just calms me down. And then if I'm not no drunk nigga who be doing shit like that. So if I'm sauced, I'll talk to people. But like fried, like I just want to be in my room, bro, by myself or with people that I've been knowing. So they used to me just not talking.
This can lead to a downward spiral that ends in self-isolation and chronic loneliness. Another thing many people who consume a lot experience
Cigarettes
is a
too?
mental numbness that makes boredom feel okay because it impacts the reward system of your brain.
It's
Not
a
great,
bum, yo.
but good enough. You can spend your days killing time binging mildly interesting stuff, being numb rather than having fun. Boredom is a signal to your mind to get creative or learn something new, but this is suppressed. This also makes quitting
ooh, I'm
so much
fried.
harder because your daily routines suddenly seem boring and unexciting, making it very tempting to go back. If you find yourself
Weed
using
capsules?
constantly, this can also stunt your development as a person. The numbness dulls bad feelings, making it easy not to deal with them. But in life, you can
Bless
only
you,
get
thank
over
you.
bad feelings
I
if
need a
you
water in my
actually
throat.
feel them, and you have to process them to grow. Lastly, let's talk about physical withdrawal symptoms. The more you consume, the worse they'll be for you, especially if you use daily. Withdrawal can cause headaches, sweating or chills, decreased appetite, in severe cases even fever, nausea and abdominal pain.
That's why niggas be getting
You might
skinny.
have trouble falling asleep, and if you do, you might have disturbing and vivid dreams.
Oh, hell
The
no.
withdrawal can put you in a depressive mood where life feels daft and pointless. You can feel restless, angry, anxious, or nervous. You may feel unable to do anything at all. After a few days, these
Yo,
symptoms
I ain't gonna lie,
will
shorty going through it. God damn,
and
shorty.
after a few weeks, they'll be gone entirely. The exact time depends on how much and how long you've been consuming cannabis. Now, let's get to the worst part.
Oh God.
Weed may damage your brain.
Yeah, I know.
This section was not fun to research because there's fierce debate among researchers how bad weed is for your brain and whether it has irreversible long-term consequences.
Irreversible.
There's no consensus yet, and it's hard to say anything definitive. Having said that, THC directly interferes with critical brain chemistry. There is some evidence that it may alter its structure. If it does, this may go away again if you quit after a few years, or not. We don't know yet. The consequences vary a lot between individuals, but especially for heavy users, they have a variety of potentially unfunny downsides. The most common one is that your memory gets significantly worse.
I ain't gonna lie. That's true, but my memory has been terrible. I don't know if it got worse, but since I was even like high school, my memory has been shot. And I don't even smoke like that, so it might have made my shit 100,000 times worse.
Sustained heavy use may reduce your ability to learn, your reasoning, perception, attention span, decision-making, language abilities, and impulse control. Most negative effects seem to go away or at least weaken over time after you quit, but again, we simply don't know enough and need more research. Where
Research.
the evidence is much clearer is that consuming a lot of weed is really bad for teenagers on multiple levels.
Makes sense.
If you start using heavily early, you have many more years to build up potentially negative side effects. Teens who use a lot are much more likely to become addicted to weed. This may just be correlation, and weed may not be the underlying cause.
They
but
chiefing that
heavy
shit
weed
though.
users are more likely to perform poorly in school and less likely to finish their education. They are, on average, less satisfied with their life and what they've achieved. This may simply be because if your memory and motivation are stunted, you have fewer interesting experiences and forget the ones you do have. And there is strong evidence that teen users are way more likely to develop mental health issues like psychosis, schizophrenia,
Damn.
depression, or anxiety later in life. Once again, the younger you start, the higher the risk. And it also seems to rise massively with high THC doses.
These niggas
making
getting.
highly potent
Yeah, oh.
cannabis products
Gotta get my clothes,
even more
y'all. I'm
dangerous
gonna
for
finish the
teens.
vid though.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We've only focused on the negative sides in this video. That was the whole point.
Twin
As
getting
we said
daddy.
before, for most people, weed in moderation is totally fine and definitely way less harmful than alcohol. You do you, we're not your parents. The upside of moderation is also that when you do it, your experience will be more intense and special. But for teens, weed, especially using it regularly or a lot of it, is a bad idea.
Nigga got zits
with
on his
potentially
face.
life-changing consequences. We know that criminalization did nothing to make this better. We now have a new chance under legalization. It begins with being open and honest about the state of science and acknowledging that weed is one drug among many others. Certainly not the worst one by a long shot.
What y'all think worse, alcohol or weed? I think alcohol. I said this earlier in the vid, but
Problematic for at least 1 to 3 out of 10 people using it. If you really have to try cannabis, there is a time and place, and that's in your 20s. If you're younger, the science is clear. Don't do it. At least not yet. You'll have plenty of time to experiment.
but that's when people usually start though, around their teenage years. It's like, well, now people be starting mad young, like 13. I'm talking about like people mainly start like 16, 15, 17. Youngest 14, but like 15, 16, 17 when they really start to try it. Well, like try different shit.
Let's do a different experiment now.
Oh, well, that's an ad. Hey, make sure y'all like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I will see you on the next reaction.